Hello and welcome back to the another episode of the Hindu News Analysis. Well, the date is 4th November 2025, and in this video we are going to discuss some important articles which are very much relevant for your preparation. But before we'll start our discussion, I would like to give you the brief idea what how we are going to approach these articles and how we are going to extract as much information as possible from these articles, which is eventually going to help you in your preparation. So first, with respect to every article, we'll try to understand the summary of the article. We'll try to understand the viewpoint the author wants to convey here in this article, what does this article is about, and how it is relevant for our preparation, whether it is relevant or not. Then second, we'll look into the key points given in the article, which are eventually going to help you very well because these are the points from where you can quote, from which you are going to quote in your mains examination, and these are the points which can be directly asked in the exam. And then the last thing with respect to every article, we'll try to look into the possible prelims or mains question which can be framed from the article, so that it will give the idea how this article is relevant for your examination. Now, without any delay, let us start our discussion by looking at the first article here. As you can see, the article is actually about the Kerala's plan, how they eradicated the extreme poverty. So here we know the poverty is one of the major issue in our country. Poverty is not just the people are not able to feed themselves. It is not all about feeding. It is not all about food, but it has a vast cascading effect. Wherever in which state we will see the extreme poverty, we will see extreme crime is happening there, because poverty leads to everything which is not good. So in this regard, we need to understand this article. We need to analyze first. The author wants us convey how the Kerala was able to end this extreme poverty, and how we can apply same model in various other states by which we can eliminate this extreme poverty. So this is exactly what the author wants to convey us, how the Kerala was able to eradicate the extreme poverty. For example, their schemes, self-help group, how through self-help groups they were able to do it, how what was the contribution of the government, what was the contribution of the panchayati raj institutes, how they were able to identify the houses, how the one the one model fits all was not working, how they approached different families differently, and how eventually they were able to eradicate it. So this is exactly what is conveyed in the article, and this is what we will see point in the key points, and we'll try to analyze these points now. So this is the summary. I hope you had understood basic idea what is given in the article, how Kerala eradicated its poverty, and how we can apply same model in the various other states, and we can reduce the poverty in our country. And a direct question about mains can be asked with the case study of Kerala, which you can use. And this slide, this analysis is going to help you for such question. So let's see what are the key points given here. First, the context and foundational success. Historical foundation. Kerala's success stems from long enacted policies like land reforms. The land reforms they did, universal primary education they provided to their children, by which their literacy rate is highest in our country, and the public distribution, how they distributed the assets in the public. This is the keystone which laid, which eventually gave them the fruits right now, and they had successfully eradicated the poverty. Then institutional strength, effective democratic decentralization, and the Kudum Shari self-help group networks provided the platform for local implementation and women's empowerment. So everything was included in it. The at the local level, how the panchayats played their role, and then poverty reduction. What is the rate? It has reduced. Poverty incidence fell from 59.74% in 73-74 to an multi-poverty index of 0.55% in 2029 to 21, according to Niti Ayog data, making Kerala the least impoverished state. So this is exactly what the author wants to convey us, and these were the implementations done from the government side, so they were successful in achieving this milestone. Now with this, let's move to the another slide. Here, the article further talks about the effective poverty elimination program, innovative approach, goal to eliminate the remaining islands of extreme poverty through customized assistance. Definition of extreme poverty: identified factors included poor health, disability, old age, lack of entitlements, food, shelter, employment, severe acute malnutrition in children, and historic social deprivation, fishermen, and all whatever is included in it, whether SCs, STs, LGBTQIA plus, and all other categories, whatever they were all included in it. Then participatory identification process: surveys conducted by Kudumshari volunteers and local governments identified 1,18,309 households who were extreme poor. Then scrutiny by ward committee and local governments led to priority list of 73,747 households, and final scrutiny by Gram Sabha resulting in a final list of 64,000 extremely poor families. So, so we are seeing from this slide how everybody was included in it, whether they are from the SCs, STs, how they were identified, and how even at the local levels they participated in this exercise, and they were able to, you know, to identify the households which were suffering from extreme poverty. So in this way, there was the targeted approach. There is to be targeted approach. Now, customized intervention and monitoring. Customized micro plans, the most innovative feature, moving away from one size fits all welfare model, providing solutions tailored to individuals' household needs that we discussed during the summary. Three stage of intervention: first, immediate care plan, addressed urgent needs, food, medical care, entitlement documents. Then, second, intermediate plan, provided transitional support, temporary housing, improving self reliance. Long term plans focused on sustainable solutions, establishing livelihoods, securing permanent shelters, and etc. So these were three stage. It was done at this three stage level. First, immediate care was given to them, like medical care, food, entitlement of documents. Then intermediate plan where they were given the temporary housing where they would live, and then the long term plan where the livelihood resources for their livelihood were chosen, and permanent settlement was given. And also the accountability was shown. The process was monitored by the management information system for timely delivery. So there was the accountability was very high in this. Now, with this, move forward. What can be the way forward? Sustainability requires continuous monitoring to prevent households from relapsing into extreme poverty. So, there should be the sustainability in it. And institutionalization. A dedicated institutional mechanism is needed to sustain the achievement and showcase the model globally, leveraging interdepartmental coordination for early warning signals. So there should be the institutionalization. It should be, it should be checked that the households remain in the position where they had been achieved. They should not go back to the extreme poverty, and there should be the interdepartmental connection between different departments. They should work. There should be synergy between different departments so that it should be, achieved. It should be sustained. So with respect to this, I hope you had understood the article. What was the purpose of the article? You may get the direct question about the Kerala's model, but definitely you may get the question about the poverty eradication in your mains exam. And there you can cite this example, how the Kerala was successful in achieving that. And you can highlight these points, how they achieved it. What was the contribution of Gram Sabha? What was the contribution of Panchayats? How the volunteers participated in it? How the self-help groups played their role? So this all we have to write down in a very systematic way, and then we can give our answers in the best way possible. So this is exactly what the author wants to convey us, and this is exactly what we as an UPSC aspirant should take from it. So here, what kind of prelims question you can expect? The question is very simple. It says, which of the following bodies or methodologies are recognized by the Indian governance framework as having a direct role in the implementation and monitoring of poverty elevation schemes at the grassroots levels? So here you should note one thing. Whenever you are going to attempt any question in your prelims exam, always remember, first read the question very carefully. We should not rush. If you are able to correctly mark 50 questions, you are almost in. So there is no need to rush into this. don't do these silly mistakes. You know, sometimes what happens, when I was the student, when I was preparing, I knew the answer, I knew the question, but unfortunately the issue was that I was not able to read the question properly, and because of that I marked many times, I had marked many questions wrong, which ideally should have been correct. So don't do these silly mistakes. Read the question properly, what the question wants to convey us, and then apply your common sense and answer the question. Here the question says, which of the following bodies or methodologies are recognized by the Indian government governance framework as having a direct role in the implementation and monitoring of poverty elevation? Gram Sabha, yes, it had. Kudumbashari Self-Help Groups Network, Poverty, Multi-Dimensional Poverty Index. No, it does not play a direct role in it. It just shows what is the poverty level, what are the requirements, and district planning committee. That is true. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is 1, 2, and 4, and the correct option would be option B. With this, I hope you had understood the article here. Now, let us move to the another article and see what was in the news today. So this is very alarming article which we have to discuss now. You know, we from our very young age we are hearing that there is something. You know how we are contributing to the globe, the global warming. How we are, how the wastes which we produce, they are going to eventually impact our life. You know, our health, and this is currently the live example which we are going to read here. What is the article here? It says that heavy metals found in Kaveri fish. Study advises reducing consumption. So these heavy metals like iron, cadmium at high levels are found in the Kaveri fish. And what can be the reasons for that? It is very simple article. Definitely industrial wastes, industrial wastes, it is the major reason for such heavy metals. Second, what can be the untreated sewage water? Untreated sewage water, that's also the reason. Then also agricultural wastes, and these contribute to this pollution, and eventually when it is entering into the food chain, it is eventually going to impact the development. It is eventually going to impact the people who consume it. It is eventually going to impact the uh, you know organisms who are going to consume it. For example, if we are going to consume these fish, it is definitely going to impact our health. So this is exactly what the author here wants to convey, how the recklessness from our side is impacting the environment, and how uh, we population, we as the generation are going to get hit by it. So let us see what are the points given in here. First, the study and findings. Location: Kaveri River. Sediments from 18 sites. Fish from 10 sites where they were collected. Researchers, who were the researchers? It was the Bharati Dasan University, Tiruchiri, uh, Tiruchirappalli. So this is the Bharati Dasan University who has done this research. And metals of concern: chromium, cadmium, copper, lead, and zinc, they were found. Key findings: accumulation of heavy metals in fish tissue varied across species, with levels of cadmium and lead frequently exceeding thresholds values for both non-carcinogenic and carcinogenic health risks to human. So you can see how lead and cadmium is increasing, and how worse its impact can be on the human health. What was the methodology? Used pollution indices, IGO, contamination factor, pollution load index, and variate statistics to distinguish between human and natural resources. Now, moving forward, sources of contamination: primary anthropogenic sources, elevated and variable levels of cadmium, chromium, and lead are highly indicative of human activity. Industrial effluents from textile and electroplanting plating units, particularly near the erode stretch. Agricultural runoff from the use of fertilizers and pesticides, and untreated urban wastewater that we had discussed. Secondary natural resources: some natural contribution exists from mineralized zones upstream, primarily contributing to metals like iron. So this is how we as a generation has failed to protect our environment. Now, with this, what are the public health implications, risks? While occasional consumption may be safe, prolonged or excessive exposure leads to cumulative non-carcinogenic and carcinogenic risks due to bioaccumulation, particularly from cadmium and lead. Safety estimate based on risk assessment indices. Consuming fish twice a week with a portion size of 250 grams per serving is considered safe. So, yet it is within the manageable level, but at the same time, if it is overconsumed, it can lead to these issues. Then confirmation, the findings agree with earlier multi-organ, multi-metal, and then confirming the findings agree with earlier multi-organ, multi-metal health risk assessment conducted by researchers at the Vellore Institute of India VIT on tilapia fish in this same basin. Now let's move forward. Here, recommendations management gaps. The study exposes gaps in current environmental management practices, call for action, urgent need for continuous systematic monitoring of sediments, water, and aquatic organisms, stricter pollution control, enhanced regulatory enforcement, and policy interventions to manage industrial emissions and unsustainable land use. So, exactly what should be done with this regard. So, here I hope you had understood the article, the core concern, how we are contributing to this pollution, and we don't care about what would be the impact of it, and eventually it is our generation which is going to get hit by it. So with this, let's see what kind of question we can expect in the exam. Here the question says, with reference to heavy metal pollution in aquatic ecosystem, consider the following terms: bioaccumulation, the gradual build up of substances in an organism over time. Here first read the question: which of the above terms given above describes the pathway and processes related to heavy metal contamination in fish that poses a risk to human health? So first, correct. Second, biomagnification, the increase in concentration of a substance in organism at successively higher levels in a food chain. That is also true. Bioremediation, the process of using living organisms like microbes to remove pollutants from contaminated site. This is incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1 and statement 2 only. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option C. With this, let's move to the another article and see what we have to discuss today with respect to this article. Well, here the article is about India Bahrain hold talks on boosting defense trade ties. So this article eventually is going to be important for us, as right now the international relation plays a very vital role in our syllabus, and also if we being the common Indians, we need to care about it, with which country we have good relations, and how we should pursue our relations with our neighbors and with the globe, with the countries around across the globe. So here let's look at the key points. What were the discussions in this meeting? Here, geopolitical and diplomatic stance. Gaza peace plan supported. India officially reiterated its support for the U.S. President Donald Trump's Gaza peace plan, with the external affairs minister stating hope for a lasting and durable solution to the West Asian conflict. You know, we had officially now supported the Gaza peace plan, which was proposed by the U.S. President Donald Trump. Then, regional context, the external affairs minister acknowledged unprecedented changes in the West Asian region and globally. Counterterrorism, the joint statement included an unequivocal condemnation of terrorism in all its forms and manifestations, and reaffirmed a strong commitment to combat it, including cross border terrorism. So, there was the joint statement given between the Bahrain and the Indian officials. So, with this, let's move forward. Here, what are the bilateral and economic cooperations? Bilateral at the bilateral forum, the meeting was held under the framework of the High Joint Commission. So remember this: defense and security. Both nations expressed optimism for enhancing future collaborations in defense and security. Trade status: India was highlighted as being among the top 5 trading partners of the Kingdom of Bahrain. So this statement itself is important for your prelims exam. And then economic facilitation, both sides agreed to commence negotiations for a double taxation avoidance agreement. The goal of the DTA is to eliminate double taxation, provide tax certainty, and promote mutual trade and investment. So this is what was discussed there and what was agreed there. Now, in this regard, what kind of question we can expect in the exam? A direct question on double taxation avoidance agreement. The negotiations of DTA between two countries aim to achieve each of the following objective. First, preventing tax evasions by sharing financial information between the two nations. True. Ensuring that the income earned in one country by a resident of the other is taxed only once. That is also true. Then third, establishing a common monetary policy and a fixed exchange rate between the two countries. That is incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is statement 1 and statement 2 only. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option C. With this, I hope you had understood the article, the essence of the article. Now let's move to the last article of today's discussion and see what we had brought today. Well, the article here talks about the PM Narendra Modi's, you know, few concerns which he raised, and how he raised a concern about the food nutritional security, how we should shift our approach from food security to nutritional security. So this was done at the symposium, science symposium, which we will discuss in the key points. So here, first the new scientific forum, first emerging science, technology, and innovation conclave. At this, the PM Narendra Modi he conveyed these important factors which the scientists should take care in achieving the nutritional security. And what is this first emerging science, technology, and innovation conclave? It is the replacement. It replaces the Indian Space Congress, which was earlier till 2023. Its last session was in 2023. What is the focus? Sessions focus on high priority areas like quantum science, bioengineering, and energy, environmental, and climate. Now, Prime Minister's vision and goals for scientists. The Prime Minister set 5 specific goals for India's scientific and technological roadmap. First, nutritional security, moving from addressing food security to achieving nutritional security through science. Biofortified crops, developing biofortified crops to directly combat malnutrition. Agricultural innovation, developing low cost fertilizers. Personalized medicine, better mapping India's genomic biodiversity to advance the field of personalized medicine. And clean energy, arriving at a new and cheap innovations in clean battery storage. So these were the goals set by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi, which he identified in this symposium. Now, with this, moving forward, let's see what was further given in the article. Here, India's R&D progress and financial commitment. R&D expenditure double over the past decade. Patents, number of patents registered has grown 17 times. Startups, the number of deep tech startups has risen to 6,000. Funding mechanism, a fund of 1 lakh crore has been made operational via the Anushandan National Research Foundation, especially designed to support substantial R&D investment by both public and private sector scientists and technologists. Now, what kind of question we can expect from the article? Here, with reference to government initiatives aimed at boosting scientific research and innovation in India, consider the following statements. First, the Anushandan National Research Foundation is a statutory body established to catalyze R&D investment across the public and private sectors in identified priority areas. That's true. Biofortified crops are genetically modified crops, especially engineered to resist common agriculture pests. No, this is for the nutritional value. Second statement is incorrect. Third, India's current scientific policy prioritizes the use of indigenous technology development fund schemes to boost research in clean energy storage. It is also incorrect. So, with respect to this question, the correct statement is statement 1 only, and from the code given below, the correct code is option A. So with this, we had completed our today's discussion. I hope you would like the video. I hope you would share it with your friends so that they may also get benefited from this initiative. And please do write in the comments what else should we bring for you. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much and have a nice day.